All right, we are back. We are very back. So, this is the longest I've ever gone without posting on YouTube, period, in general. I haven't posted on the main channel, the Base Zeus channel, I guess the Benjamin Seda channel now, because we did the whole rebrand, which I still call it the Base Zeus channel. I haven't posted on this channel in over a year, I think almost a year and a half now. So, I wanted this to just be a little bit of a life update, an update on everything that's been going on, why I stopped posting on this channel, why I haven't posted on the main channel in a little while, and kind of just give you guys the update on everything that's been going on, where I'm at, and the stuff I'm working on. So last year when I was posting on this channel, I was posting very regularly. This was actually my main focus. I wanted this channel to be my main focus. I was a little burnt out on the Base Zeus content, and I wanted to take things in a new direction. And the plan at the time was to either keep the Base Zeus channel going, or potentially let it take a secondary focus to this channel, because I was kind of feeling like I wanted to do something a little bit different. But things changed in that I decided to launch a coaching program on the Zeus channel. We started doing dating coaching. For years, the business model for Base Zeus has changed a lot over the years. When I first started the channel, the business model I thought was, oh, I'm just going to be like a YouTuber and make money off of AdSense. But because the Zeus content was very edgy, it was comedy, right? The Zeus content was very edgy. Zeus would curse. It was, very in your face. A lot of people, or not a lot of people, YouTube decided that it was not super politically correct or great for YouTube. So the videos were either demonetized, and also the CPM for that type of content, the amount of money you get paid per 1,000 views, isn't super high, especially because the content we were making was purely dating focused. It wasn't like, style or grooming, which is going to have a slightly higher CPM. So the business model was, let's monetize through AdSense, through YouTube AdSense. That didn't really work. We tried some other stuff out, but eventually we landed on doing sponsorships, and sponsorships were amazing for a while. We promoted a bunch of products that we really loved. I loved working with the brands and the sponsors. It was always fun working with them, and that business model worked really well for a long time. The problem with the sponsorship business model, though, is that it's a bit of a job, in that if I'm working with, let's just take any company, right? Let's say I make a video with fucking Manscaped. Manscaped will pay me X amount of money per video. But then when that video goes up, that's done. The money's done. It's a one-time payment. It's not really a sustainable way to grow a business, because unless you are someone who, my friend Alex Costa is a great example, unless you're like really huge and you're in a niche where sponsorships make more sense, like you're doing fashion and style and stuff like that, and you can work with really big brands, the sponsorship business model is not really my favorite, because you're always on the hamster wheel of needing to make something new in order to make money. Let's say, we're just going to use fake numbers here. Let's say Manscaped pays me $100 for a video. Great, I got paid $100 for a video, but if I want to make another $100, I have to make another sponsored video. So there's not really any longevity. And the truth is, when you make a piece of YouTube content in general, content and software are two of the highest pieces of leverage that you can create in the modern day. And that if I make a piece of software, I can sell it over and over and over again and make money off of something I made once, this one piece of software. If I make a piece of content, it'll get views forever, right? Like, yeah, the views will go down, but generally speaking, Manscaped or whatever sponsor is paying you to promote their stuff, number one, they're paying you less than what you can really generate, because it needs to be profitable for them. So let's say Manscaped pays me $100 for a sponsored video, and because they know that they're going to make $200 from it. So they need to make a profit. Obviously, it's their business model, makes total sense. That's how sponsorships work. But as the creator, as the business owner, you're not capturing 100% of the value that you're creating. That's problem number one with the sponsorship model. Problem number two is that those videos, for years and years and years, though, for weeks, months, as long as that video is going to be up, it's going to be generating revenue for that brand. Whereas if you make your own product, you can be generating revenue for your own product. The other thing is that it allows you to create a sort of passive income in that I am building that value and that equity in my business. I'm building a customer list, right? When someone buys from you, you get their email, you create a relationship with that customer, they're a lot more likely to buy from you again. The easiest person to sell to is the person who just bought from you. Whereas if I'm giving all of that away to a sponsor, you're giving away a lot of the value that you have from a business. And as a creator, you come to a point where you realize the reason sponsors are willing to pay you money is because you have value to bring. You have an audience. You have distribution. So this is a very long-winded explanation, but all that to say, eventually we moved from the sponsorship model to launching our own courses. And the reason I wanted to launch courses was because the content I've always made on Zeus is dating focused, right? So although promoting a watch company or a fragrance company or anything like that, all of those are very related to dating. They're still not exactly just dating. So I figured guys come to us because they want help with dating. Why not just put together a course that's no bullshit, direct to the point, and helps them with a specific dating problem. Our first course was a texting course that was very successful. That's probably one of our most successful launches still to this day in terms of the initial product launch period. That product was very good. We launched an approach program on how to approach women in person and how to build up your social skills in person. We launched both of those in 2019. And from 2019 up until 2022 maybe, or 2021, we had done, I'm trying to remember the timeline. Regardless, it doesn't really matter. I believe it was till 2022. From 2019 to 2022, so for 3 years, it was just courses. We moved away from sponsors from the most part because the way I felt, when I'm promoting a course, I can speak directly to the viewer. I can give them a product. I control the entire experience. I can determine my own refund policy. I can determine the experience they get in the product, and it's more of what they come to me for. If you come to me to watch videos on dating advice, why wouldn't I give you a specific targeted solution that I spend a lot of time, energy, and brain juice on dating, right? So we eventually moved to courses, but after doing courses for 3 years, which is still a great model, and I love it, and I love that you're able to give people a really big, life-changing, transformative result. The thing that started to feel a little not great was the YouTube channel blew up very early on. Within 6 or 7 months, the channel hit 100K subscribers, hit 1 million subscribers in 2 years, which is pretty fucking unheard of. This is really big growth, especially if we're not talking about like being an entertainer, right? Like Logan Paul or Mr. Beast or whatever. Those are entertainment channels, so they're more broad appeal. This is more of like an infotainment, educational type of channel. So the channel grew really fast, and when you have big numbers, you're getting 100K views a video, you have millions of subscribers, you get tons of engagement, millions of views, tons of comments every single day for years, you start to lose that personal touch and that personal relationship with your audience, which is a big reason why a couple years ago I started this channel, because I wanted something that was a little bit more personal and I can kind of explore my own interests and have a more personal relationship with the people who engaged with the pieces of media I was putting out. But the other thing that changed was when you're making the courses have mass appeal. I think I was looking through one of my payment processors the other day, and I think we've done well over, at least 10,000 transactions. So over 10,000, that's not even counting refunds, right? So our refund rate was probably around 10%, 10 to 12%, and that's pretty common with information products. Around 10 to 12% is common. So it's probably even more than that. So we've processed over 10,000 transactions just conservatively, which means that's 10,000 people who've gone through the courses, and yes, we get their testimonials, yes, we get the reviews, but it still wasn't as personal as I'd liked. So in 2022, I kind of had the idea, I was feeling a little burnt out on the content and kind of the model, and I wanted things to be a little bit different, which is why I started spending so much time on this channel. I kind of wanted a break. What ended up happening was very interesting. I toyed around with doing a coaching model. So instead of doing a course that anyone could just put their credit card in and buy, I created an application process. I spent a lot of time coming up with a specific at the time, 12-week process for helping guys get on dates and to transform their dating lives. And that program that I initially put out is the best decision I've ever made in that business. Not only financially, that ended up being the most successful product I've ever launched, even though we get less views than ever on that main channel, which I'll talk about in a second. But that ended up being the smartest decision I've ever made, and also one of the most fulfilling, because after years of just interacting with viewers in a way that was just a number on a screen, because it's a big number on a screen, right? Like, I'm not saying that to big dick people who have smaller subscriber counts, but I've basically, since the beginning, the channel took off. So it's kind of lacked that personal touch. So being able to work with a guy, get to know him, know his fucking name, interact with him on a weekly, daily basis inside of the coaching program, and really see how I could make that transformation for him over the course of just a couple weeks was really, really rewarding and really, really fun, because it allowed me to get really excited about making dating content and talking about the concept of dating. Because on the Zeus channel, just as Zeus, I mean, man, we must have made like 400 videos on the topic of dating in the same way, right? When you're working with someone in a coaching one-on-one environment, you can talk about things on a way more advanced level, on a specific level that's relevant to where they are in their life, and in a way that's going to make the change. And the benefit is you get to see them go and take action and execute on it. And then from there, the transformation starts to happen. So that was something and an experience that I never really had throughout the duration of the channel. I mean, if we want to really go back, I've made YouTube videos on dating. I used to have an old channel. Maybe I'll show a clip. I'll have a clip come up here on screen of some of the old content I used to make. I used to make content, Call of Duty videos, where I'd talk about dating when I was fucking 15 and 16 years old. So that's how long I've been obsessed with discussing the concept of dating. But sort of the idea for the channel came from, in high school, I was always kind of the guy that friends and people would come to me for help with dating advice, or they're texting a girl and they wanted help. So that was really fun. So it kind of evolved into the idea for Zeus, and that channel is kind of how everything played out. But what started the channel, or what started the idea of the channel and me getting obsessed with dating, was me helping, personal friends or people that I knew with dating. Like, that was just really, really fun. And that's what inspired me to make the channel. So it was kind of like a full circle moment. And I launched that coaching program in March of 2022. Or March of 2022? Maybe April of 2022 is more accurate. March or April of 2022, regardless, it doesn't fucking matter at this point. But I launched it, and ever since then, that's been the absolute main focus of what I've been doing with the content and the channel. If you look at the base Zeus channel, it's the Benjamin Seda channel now. I rebranded it, and that's a big reason why I rebranded it. I'm gonna make a full video on that main channel on kind of why I decided to retire the Zeus branding and the direction in which I plan on taking that channel. But the other thing that happened is that short form really blew up. So Instagram Reels, TikTok Reels, fucking Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, short form content really, really blew up. So I didn't really need to focus on YouTube, because once I did the shift, long story short, I'm kind of skipping steps here. This is kind of stream of consciousness rambling, but I launched the coaching program. It did really well, and I wanted to keep going with it. But the problem is that people are used to watching Zeus. Sometimes when I would get on the interview calls that we do, where I screen guys before I let them join the program, because we don't just accept anyone. In fact, we accept less than 1% of the applications who come into the program. And that's why the success rate on the coaching program is so high. A lot of people in the info product or the guru space make products, and the reason the success rate is so low and they get a bad rep is because they just take anyone's fucking money and they'll let anyone do it. Where truthfully, not that I don't want to make money, it's a business at the end of the day, but long term, it's worse for your business to take on clients who you can't help, because they're going to be unsatisfied, and if they're unsatisfied, they're going to ask for a refund, or they're going to charge back, which is going to hurt your standing with the credit card processor and could get your business shut down and create all sorts of headaches. But also, if you want to really create a business where people feel trusting joining, and what sells a coaching business is the testimonials and the results you get for guys. So you really only want to take on people that you really know you can help. So the problem became, though, is that you watch a Zeus cartoon video, an animated video, and then guys would jump on a call, and obviously Zeus is a cartoon, right? So guys would jump on a call and they'd want to learn from Zeus and his team, and some guys didn't even know who I was. Up until that point, I think I'd only been on 4 or 5 videos on the Zeus channel in general, or in total. So guys would jump on and be like, so are you Zeus, or what's the deal? It just created confusion. The other thing was too, is that I'd been making, like I said, 400 videos on the Zeus channel from 2016 to 2022. It's a lot of videos just on the topic of dating, really. I know a lot of other guys in the space. When I think about, I'm driving in the mountains. I kind of decided to do a little bit of a mountain trip. I'm going to work at a cafe. I'm launching something new. I'll get to that in a second. But my ears are popping. That's why I'm yawning. A lot of other guys in the space. When I think about my friends in the space who kind of did similar-ish content, who were in a similar niche, like Jose from Teaching Men's Fashion, or Aaron from Alpha M, or Alex Costa, or Brett Maverick, they always had their own unique spin or angle. They would touch on dating topics sometimes, but that was just never really their focus in the same way that ours was. They would also touch on fashion and grooming and style, which is great because they could touch on other topics, whereas with dating, we were just fucking hammering dating for years and years and years. I made 400 videos on that topic, and part of the reason that I switched the content style was, or kind of shifted away from Zeus, was that I wanted the coaching to be a bigger piece of what I was doing, and I wanted it to be the main focus. And people want to know the coach that they're going to be learning from, or the person who's going to be consulting them on their dating life. So that was one of the main reasons. I wanted to attract a different type of person, someone who's more serious, because truthfully, if you're a guy who's maybe 18, 19, 20 years old, you're not really at a place where dating and doing it in a way that is so fucking purposeful and so intentional like it is in my coaching program. The average age of the clients I work with in the coaching program are between 25 to 50 years old, right? So someone who's younger than 25 isn't really the right fit for the coaching program, just because you're at a different stage in life. Dating is a priority, but it's not as much of a priority, and you have other things going on, right? You're just not at that level yet where a coaching program makes sense. Whereas when I was doing the courses, a lot of younger guys are buying that, and a course makes a lot more sense. So all that to say, a cartoon wasn't really attracting the types of guys I wanted to work with long term. Even though the business was doing great and it was making more money than ever before, still with the cartoon, I felt like it was incongruent. The other thing was that I wanted to talk about dating in a way that was more interesting for me, and being an animated cartoon was a really limiting format. That format had a lot of limitations in terms of the content, the speed at which I can turn content around. I mean, I liked that it was animated for a long time, because the benefit was I could write a video, then get it all animated and edited. I didn't need to film anything. And basically, as soon as I was done writing a video, it was good to go. It was just bam, go, great. I don't have to film it. Now that I have to film content, it's like an extra step. And truthfully, it's a lot more work and time consuming now to make content, but the format of animations doesn't really cater well for the types of content I wanted to make. The other thing was too, is that inside the dating coaching program, we do a lot of different things. If you've seen any of the content on it before, it's called the 3-part pipeline, right? So we help guys with their dating apps, their Instagram, and their in-person interactions. So like, you see a girl on the street, you approach her, you meet a girl at the coffee shop, the sort of in-person interactions, right? And over time, I had been revamping and updating the coaching materials based on the feedback from all of the guys going through the various cohorts that I was taking at a time. And around January, December, February, it came time for me to update and revamp some of the in-person content, because the content that I was training guys with, the course material that guys go through in the coaching program, that was about in-person approaching, it was years old. It wasn't really updated, and it was something that a lot of guys were wanted help on in the program. They were getting great results with it, but I just knew we wanted to do more. So I knew I was going to have to go out and film a bunch of new in-person approach content. And I kind of figured, well, if I'm going to go out and film this in-person approach content, because that's something that a lot of guys, when I would get on calls with the guys, or when my enrollment director would get on calls and interviews for guys who wanted to join the program, a big thing was in-person stuff. And obviously the first ever video we made on Zeus was a video on how to talk to girls in person. So that's always been a big thing. And the problem with a cartoon format was that I can't really do a video where I'm in person talking if it's a fucking Zeus cartoon, right? So that was a big thing. I wanted to make that a bigger focus, because that was what the coaching clients wanted help on and was a big part of the program, and it needed to be revamped anyways. I want to be able to make content that's a lot different under the umbrella of dating, and also even stuff beyond dating on that main channel. And being just a cartoon, it just really limited what could be done. And like I said, I've made 400 videos on that specific channel, on that specific topic of dating. It's like there was only so many other ways I could do it. Yeah, I could have done reactions with the cartoon, but it just made more sense to almost crashed. It just made more sense to transition it to me. And the biggest reason actually for the transition to me, all of that stuff is fine and dandy. If I was really set on keeping it as Zeus, I could have just done the in-person stuff and kept the coaching program as is. But really, too, over the last year or two, since maybe like 2021 or 2022, whatever, all after COVID, all the timelines and years all blend into one for me. But really, the manosphere, or just men's dating content and men's improvement content in general, has taken such a wild turn over the last couple years, in that the red pill is huge. You have all of these podcasts, and it's taken a really, what I would think is a very unproductive and bit of a dark turn. And men's podcasts, men's dating, the topic of male-female dynamics is more popular than ever. It's really a centerpiece of the culture wars and the mainstream right now. Yet guys are getting less results than ever. Guys' social IQ and social skills are worse than ever. And guys are doing less in-person interactions and approaching than ever. In fact, when I first started making YouTube videos from 2016, I would say till 2019, late 2019 is when I started seeing this shift happen a little bit, and then 2020 just accelerated the fuck out of it. Most of the comments were about specifics, like how do I text a girl, how can I get better at dating, etc. Now, one of the most common comments I would see over the last couple of years is, talking to girls or dating isn't even worth it, just focus on yourself, bro. Or, oh, women aren't worth it, they're just gonna steal your money. Just this very jaded, repressed, almost resentful energy towards women became a lot more common and popular in the narrative and in the comment sections and in terms of what people are watching. And I think the reason for that is twofold, right? Guys are obsessed with the social media, and technology keeps guys more introverted into themselves, right? You don't have to go outside, you don't have to interact with people. COVID really accelerated this. So because you're not sharpening this skill that is your social skills, right? Because you're not really talking to women in the same way, a lot of dating happens on dating apps. Most people meet on dating apps or some sort of online method of communication. Guys are less equipped to meet women and be, I don't want to say charismatic, but guys don't have the skills that they once did in previous generations to talk to women in person. You combine that with the fact that now that there's Instagram and dating apps, women are opened up to a much larger pool of men. You can date people, instead of just dating people in your immediate area, you can date people from a much larger area. With dating apps, you can set your fucking location range to dozens of miles. With Instagram, you can message people and meet people from around the world. You can see what different dating options there are. I mean, if you go on your Explore page as a dude on Instagram, you're gonna see tons of hot girls. So your reference for what you like and what your expectations are for dating are a lot different, but you're also not doing as much dating. So women have a lot more options than ever thanks to social media and technology, and men have, the skills that men have is, they're just less equipped than ever to deal with this issue and deal with dating and be successful with dating. So this red pill sort of resentful narrative towards women aren't worth it, is very seductive. It's very appealing to a guy who in 2023, 2022 isn't really having success due to a lot of his own fault and also just the technological culture that we live in at the moment. And because I've seen all of these red pill podcasts pop up and all of these crazy casts of characters and personalities that I felt were not only not really helping guys get any better at dating, because again, the most popular narrative is just focus on yourself, bro, just focus on yourself, bro, which is true. You should be focused on yourself. That should. It's crazy that that's the narrative now. It's like, oh, just focus on yourself, bro. Of course. As if that isn't the most obvious shit in the world. People think it's some sort of profound thing. No, just focus on yourself, bro. Self-improvement, self-improvement. Of course, right? Like, why wouldn't you be doing these things anyways? But this idea that you need to lock yourself in a room and never be social and never talk to women until you're making 6 figures a year, until you have six-pack abs, etc. Really, that's just a creative way to distract yourself from the fact and put off, like, kind of ignore the fact that you just suck at dating and girls don't like you because you're not interesting and you don't know how to communicate yourself in an effective way. A lot of my clients, you'd be surprised, I'm in Manhattan, right? So I do private coaching and consulting for dating specifically with guys who are worth over $100 million. Just through my network and people I know, because New York City, right, it's one of the richest cities in the world. I've coached dozens of guys at this point who are worth over $1 million, who run 7-figure businesses or have 7-figure salaries, guys worth 8 figures, etc. And just because you have money, just because you're in shape, because you're good looking, does not mean you are automatically going to be able to get the types of women you want and want relationships with. So this idea that you've been sold by the red pill and these characters is not only not true, it's also not productive, and it's not getting you anywhere with dating. And it felt as though if I wanted to throw my content, if I was going to be making content in this area, in this field, like I have been for years, and if I wanted to kind of throw my cap into, I don't know what the fuck, if I was going to be making content on this, it felt like doing it as a cartoon, as Zeus, in that format wasn't really productive, because I think more than ever, people want to hear from a real person, and I felt like a real person myself, and especially with all the experience and stuff I've been doing with the dating coaching, I felt like it just made more sense to, in order to counter this, not even counter this narrative, but just speak the truth on, oh shit, my microphone is attached to the seatbelt, so it's all fucked up now. I'm just gonna pull this off. So it just felt a lot more natural to do it as myself, because people were gonna, like, truthfully, the other thing with the Zeus thing was that at the end of the day, it's a cartoon, right? Like, you want to trust a real person who you feel is out there actually doing it, whereas with the cartoon, it kind of, that format was a little bit more difficult. Just with the way the landscape is now with men's dating content, it felt important for me to put myself personally out there rather than have this Zeus character that people perhaps could more easily dismiss, couldn't really relate to as much, and was honestly, a lot of the Zeus content at the end of the day was entertainment. Yeah, there was a lot of great, valid advice there that really, really, really changed the game for a lot of people. And even still to this day, a lot of the guys I work with inside the coaching program or people who come across the content, a lot of those guys originally watched the Zeus content back in the day and say how much it helped them, but it felt like it had its time, and it was time ultimately for something new. I just realized this was meant to be a life update, and I just gave a whole 30-minute ramble on the Zeus business model and all of that. I wanted to touch on that, but I wasn't planning on touching on that for 30 minutes. So let's step out. I'm at a pretty cool spot, one of my favorite spots. I actually came here on my motorcycle the other day, but let's step out and I'll give you a little bit more of the general life update and everything else that's going on. So I came up here on my motorcycle the other day. I did like a 50-mile quick motorcycle trip. I had to break in the tires. I just bought a new motorcycle. That's part of my update. But let me walk you over and we'll see some more here. So I mentioned in the car that this is the longest I've gone without posting on YouTube. Even though there was a couple times in making those videos, like I said, 400 videos over the course of a couple years is a lot on the same topic. Over that time, there was definitely a lot of times where I felt burnt out. It's like the normal cringe thing that YouTubers complain about. Oh, I'm burnt out, I'm burnt out. You just make more videos. There was never a point. I think the longest I've been without posting is 2 weeks. And I think it's been 5 or 6 weeks now since I posted on the main Zeus channel. The reason I haven't posted is because I have some new ideas for formats. I wanted to take time to really come up with a new style and something that I feel excited about making. And the rebrand, where I kind of changed everything around, and I think the last video went up the last week of January. So February is when the Zeus rebrand kind of started. And since then, as far as the YouTube content goes, I've had a lot of fun experimenting with the new stuff, but I don't feel like I've totally cracked the format on YouTube. The other reason is that short form really blew up, which is something I alluded to for a while. And even though the YouTube channel isn't really in the best spot, views-wise, growth-wise, etc., it doesn't really bother me as long as, number one, we're making content that's doing well, the business itself is doing well, we're getting guys more results than ever. So that's really the main thing I care about. But also, we've been growing on short form for the last year like crazy. I mean, probably by the end of this month or by next month, we'll have 1 million followers combined between all of our short form platforms. Just on Instagram, TikTok alone, I think we're at 450 something thousand on Instagram and 400,000 on TikTok, which we all gained within the last year. So this is something you've probably noticed a lot of other creators do. There's just not as much benefit to posting a full long form video on YouTube if you can get a lot of easy free traffic on short form. That being said, I do think that the highest quality audience is on YouTube, and that long form is just more interesting, it's more engaging, and a lot of the short form stuff isn't great. But the short form has been really, really big and impactful for my business. And I mean, the business is doing better than ever. The growth has been better than ever in terms of the short form platforms. Those 400K subscribers on each platform, TikTok and Instagram. Even on Facebook, I think we're almost at 100K. That has been probably the biggest I've grown in a single year, period, on any channel or any growth platform ever. So that's the full update on this. that's the full, as if it was short. That's the full update on the Zeus stuff. It's still recording, okay, good. That's the full update on the main channel and the Zeus debacle. Another reason I kind of haven't posted in the last 5 or 6 weeks is because I've had a lot of injuries in the last year, just been focused on scaling and growing the coaching business. It's been a main thing. I've traveled quite a bit. I've been doing a lot of shooting training, which I started at the end of 2020 is when I first started getting into it, which has been a lot of fun. I've been doing a lot of shooting training. I've been traveling quite a bit to do it, and I've been doing a lot of boxing. But the last month, it's crazy how much being able to move and have a routine and how your mind and body are connected. Like every single thing that you do is connected and has second and third order consequences. It's interesting because the last 3 or 4 weeks I haven't really done much training. I got a shoulder impingement from an accident over the summer. I won't get into that. I have a really bad Achilles tendonitis, so I've been a bit nervous about going to boxing and doing a bunch of explosive movements. And then I got into a car accident a couple years ago that messed up my neck. I played football for 8 years as a kid, where I kind of sprained my neck and had some issues there. I've just had a lot of injuries and trauma to my neck area, and that kind of flared up all at the same time. So I basically did no training at all. I lost a bunch of weight, and it's crazy. I trained for the first time last week. I went to the boxing gym, went really light, really slow, did some lifting afterwards, and I felt 10 times better, and way better than I had in weeks. And I was kind of wondering why my mood, and I kind of felt less inspired and just less, I was kind of in a bit of a rut, I guess you could say. Now that I'm looking back on it and thinking about it, I felt very much like I was in a rut, and just training once immediately 10x my mood. So I'm trying to figure out how I can do a little bit more training. I've been going to physical therapy multiple times a week to fix my shoulder. My shoulder is probably 80% better. It's almost there. My Achilles just flared up a ton yesterday. I filmed for like 7 hours yesterday. I filmed a new YouTube video, which is why we hadn't posted to that channel. I wanted to really step things up. So I filmed a new YouTube video for like 7 hours. We did a bunch of in-person content. I filmed some real life breakdowns of me doing some in-person interactions and meeting women in person, which was fun. And I wanted to update because I'm launching something new. So that's been the update on that front. I got a motorcycle. Which has been fucking epic. I got a Honda CB300R. A lot of guys say, oh, you should get a 250 or a 300 for your first motorcycle because it's gonna be too slow. You're gonna outgrow it. But my life is great. My main priority when I get on the motorcycle is coming back home and living to ride another day. So the motorcycle's been sick. I've been taking it on trips out here. I've been riding it a ton. I'm trying to think what else has happened. It's been so much has happened in the last year. I think that kind of covers everything I wanted to go over. Life update, very long Zeus update. I still call it Zeus. Jesus Christ. What else? Oh, what my plans for this channel. So my plan for this channel is actually pretty interesting. I kind of want this channel to be my not my fun channel, because the other channel's quite fun, but I want this channel to be where I can post stream of consciousness stuff like this. I think I'm going to cover some businessy topics here again. That's always a lot of fun, like I used to on this channel. I think with the way the channel was in the past, I covered a lot of different topics.